Marco,
There he is.
we did
Lorenzo,
it.
how
We
are
did it.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Don't you love technology? I thought I'm going to get on smoothly, see Lorenzo, and I'm like fiddling live. Like, how do I do this? Oh, well.
Yeah, but how about the fact that we have this technology, I mean, so that we can stay connected during this lockdown,
Exactly. Exactly. You got to love technology for that reason.
Well, we have to. Yeah, we have to appreciate it.
Yeah, well, it's great to see you. And so tell me, I'm here right now. We're in quarantine. How has your family been handling this situation?
Just like everybody else's, I mean, there's frustrating times, when you just really feel like, when is this going to end? And then there's other times where you're actually thankful that you can get your family members and friends in one place to have a decent conversation. I mean, it's your attitude, right? It's how we are able to function as normal as possible with the restrictions that are imposed on us. I mean, I'm fortunate because I do have another career as a pilot, and the company that I fly for is we're operating, limited, significantly limited.
Yeah.
But we're operating because we don't just do VIP charter and sightseeing, although that's part of it. But we also, the company I work for, Helinet, also flies medical transportation flights, right? So we'll take a team of doctors and nurses, back and forth between hospitals, either with a patient or with an organ.
Let me ask you, it's so interesting because you're talking about being a pilot. A lot of people don't know that that's what you do. We're used to you being on TV and films and all your incredible roles, which we'll talk about later. But how did you get into being a helicopter pilot?
Well, when I was on television and doing, films and stuff back in the 80s and 90s and throughout like half of the 2000s, I'd always been a pilot as a hobby, as a hobby. I loved airplanes. I started flying in 1997 and airplanes first.
Right.
And I got quite a bit up the ladder in terms of certification in fixed wing, airplanes. And then I went into helicopters in like 2001. And this was all because I had the means and the disposable income at the time to pursue a hobby in aviation. It's not cheap by any means. It's very expensive. What I loved about aviation, and I still do, is that I wasn't a celebrity, talking to an air traffic controller. I was another pilot with an aircraft N number, and I was just part of the sequence, part of the grand sequence of operations in the air over this country. And it was just such a wonderful, it was a release for me. 6 years ago, when my acting career was really, really challenging. I mean, I was still raising my daughters and really wondering, like, what can I do to bring some money into I mean, I'd done musical theater, and I'd done, I did a cabaret show on the East Coast for a year and a half. And it's just like, I was just digging deep to figure out what I'm going to do. And as we find these challenges in life, we have to figure out a way to continue to thrive. And we have to look in our toolbox every once in a while and say, what do I have in there? What can I use? How can I apply the knowledge that I have and derive some financial benefit from it? So I went back to school 6 years ago, and I got a commercial flight instructor rating to teach people how to fly helicopters. Okay. And that started it started a new career.
And when you're doing these flying people around, do they ever recognize you and go, aren't you Lorenzo Lamas?
Not too often, because I've really been out of the public view for a dozen or so years. I'm not on your television. I'm not on, on Netflix. So
yeah,
people tend to, like, unless you're out there and you're present, they tend to forget about you. So it's been terrific.
well, I think your career is just unforgettable. In fact, I'm watching some of the comments along the bottom. There's some people watching from Germany and Italy. I mean, you have fans all over the world. And I know they're dying to hear you talk about your Hollywood past. I mean, I love that you're a pilot,
Yeah.
which is incredible. And it sounds like you are so passionate about it, which is cool. But let's jog it back to Greece. Okay, we're talking back in 1978. You played Tom, the jock, opposite Olivia Newton-John, John Travolta. What do you remember from that time? And while you're talking, I'm going to show just a couple photos just so you can kind of, people can see you from back in the day. Let's see if I can get these up. Okay, check this out. Look at that. What do you remember from this guy that we're looking at?
I remember how naive and completely clueless that individual was. I was 2 years out of high school when I got Grease, and it originally was offered to Stephen Ford, President Gerald Ford's son. Really? And I had interviewed with Alan Carr about a month prior to Stephen Ford getting the role. And then, as my understanding goes, Stephen just wasn't comfortable on stage practicing the dancing portion of the numbers. And so he opted out. I mean, can you believe it? On the lot of, he's on the lot, right, at Paramount Studios.
Yeah.
And, you know, they throw some dance moves, and, you know, I mean, I'm no dancer, but I could put a foot in front of the other, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, you're willing to learn. Are you kidding?
Yeah, so when I first met Alan Carr, he didn't have any roles for me. All the T-Birds were cast. He said I looked too much like John Travolta to be in the movie as a T-Bird. So would I be interested in taking Stephen Ford's place as this jock character who doesn't have a single line in the movie? And I didn't know anything. I'm 19 years old. I just had done one guest starring role on a television show. And I said, of course, I'm in. So he sent me directly to, right from the office. He said, go to Jose Bear in Beverly Hills. We're going to dye your hair blonde.
Jose Bear. Oh my gosh. And so they immediately transformed your look.
So they did completely transform my look. You know, the hair, as you see in the picture, is lighter, especially that picture.
Totally blonde. Wow.
And, you know, within like a day, I was on the set with my teenage heartthrob, Olivia Newton-John, you know, as her, you know, semi-love interest. I mean, it was, I've never ever had that feeling of complete and utter excitement and just mind-blowing thrills as I did when I did that movie.
That's incredible. And do you still talk to Olivia or John Travolta?
You know, we still communicate through Barry Pearl, who played Duty on Barry Pearl played Duty, and he's become the spokesperson for all of us. You know, we're just like, it's like we all graduated together, you know.
Like a family.
So we are a family. And it was just recently the 40th anniversary of Grease, right? It was like a little less than 2 years ago. So we did some appearances, you know, throughout the country, and everybody got together. Now, John and Olivia rarely go to those reunions because it's just, you know, why would they?
Yeah.
You
well, I know, yeah, but people know them for that.
But we're all still, you know, we're all still on an email thread together.
Yeah.
You know, we all wished Olivia, you know, a recovery from a renewed battle with cancer.
Yes.
She is the strongest individual I have ever known. I mean, she really is a sweet, but tenacious and strong woman. I still have a crush on her.
How could you not? She's still so beautiful. She's always,
you know, I mean,
I had a crush on her too. But did anybody, did you guys think of dating? Like, you know, when Olivia, because you guys were around the same age, did you guys ever think about that or go out?
Well, she was in a relationship at the time.
Okay.
With Grease. But she's, you know, I mean, I was 19 and she was like 24 when we did the movie. So
yeah,
I don't think there was anything that she was thinking about about Lorenzo at that time. I mean, I could barely put two words together.
I get it. But
in her presence, I was just like, wow, my God.
Yeah, especially that black leather outfit at the end. Oh man,
Smoking hot,
still smoking.
smoking hot.
Yeah. Oh
You
god.
know,
I think every actress has tried to recreate that, but nobody comes close to Olivia Newton-John. I mean, she's
there,
still.
there are certain iconic moments in motion picture history
Yeah.
that go down as immeasurable. You know,
Yeah.
like you think of Rocky. You think of the running up the steps of that Philadelphia
Oh, classic.
landmark. And
Yes.
like this. I mean,
Huh.
certain things, and Olivia taking the cigarette out, dropping it on the ground, and crushing it with her heel. It's just
Iconic.
iconic moment.
I know I have some people leaving messages. They want to talk about your Falcon Crest days, playing Lance Cumson. What do you remember about that? I mean, that was such drama. That was before like the Melrose Place and all that stuff. This was the
Yeah, I
original,
mean,
the OG of drama, right? Let me find some of those pictures. Tell me about that.
yeah. At the time, there was really one hit late night primetime show
Look at that. Yeah.
that was like a soap opera. That was Dallas. CBS wanted another serial type of late night primetime soap.
Mm-hmm.
So Earl Hamner wrote this pilot called The Vintage Years, and I auditioned for Lance. Right, I had to audition a few times. I think I auditioned once for the casting agent, and I auditioned the second time for Earl
Okay.
and a couple of producers, CBS, and then the third time I auditioned for the CBS executives. It was incredible.
Well, look at this guy. Let's talk about this guy. So this was Renegade, right?
Yeah, that's Renegade.
Lasted
So
for five years.
five
This role.
seasons, 5 seasons in syndication. Audiences that found the show became very loyal to the show, so they would
Mhm.
find it.
And you had to stay in incredible shape. I mean, look at you're ripped.
I was ripped. Yes.
I was.
It was really, really hard because I love carbs, and for 6 months I couldn't eat any. But I think early on in my career I was stereotyped as an actor that had a certain physique, right?
Okay.
So I was thankful that I was able to get those roles, and I haven't completely stopped acting. I played Gina Rodriguez's father in an episode of Jane the Virgin just
Yes.
a little more than a year ago. I still have an agent, that I just got off the phone with him actually before we started talking together. He knows that in order for me to leave aviation, and trust me, to leave aviation, it's a tall order for me. Marco, I've been very lucky, and I'm very appreciative of it. And I think that down the road, I will probably come back in some significant way.
Fantastic.
I'm just taking a nice, well-earned vacation. 35 years in the business.
Lorenzo, this has been so much fun, and I know all your fans watching from around the world have enjoyed hearing your little pieces of Hollywood history that went along with your roles. You can't, pass that up. That's invaluable, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Marco, for the time. It was a pleasure talking with you, and everybody watching out there. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we hope to see you again soon.
All right, stay safe, and I hope I get to talk to you again soon right here.
Absolutely.
Me too. All right,
take care.
Bye, Lorenzo.
Bye.
What a great guy. That was so much fun. And what a treat to be able to hear all those personal stories from Lorenzo, from Greece, and from Renegade and Falcon Crest. So much fun. So I appreciate that he took the time to talk with us. And thank you all for tuning in. This is so great. I love hearing I'm watching your comments from Germany, Italy, France. This is the beauty of the internet. We get to all connect and be together, even though we're not physically together, which is really, really cool. So I have more episodes coming up from On the Couch, and it should be fun. Some different figures, radio personalities is going to be on, a few actors, and some musicians. So we'll get to that soon. But don't forget to follow and tell your friends to follow on Instagram at On the Couch 2020. Again, I'm Marco Gonzalez, and I appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time right here on the couch. Take care.